Welcome back to the Neil Oliver Show. My first guest this week is Vera Sharav, a Holocaust survivor and human rights activist. She has a new documentary coming out asking if we are heading towards global tyranny. Vera joins me now. Thank you for joining us, Vera.
Thank you for having me.
A documentary called From Tyranny to Awakening. Can I ask, it's a big question, but what concerns you most when you look out at the world at the moment?
From Tyranny to Awakening this explores really the suppressed, essential spiritual part of humanity. This has been totally suppressed, put under as though it doesn't matter. Only technological things matter. Only what you can measure, right? I mean, everyone has been geared in the West to do just that and to only value whatever is quantifiable. But human beings have much more to them than, having the ability to do math and physics. And the spiritual part is what is so unique. And so decided to explore a bit about that part from people who are, seers, people who have, it's interesting. There are people who have talents that other people don't. But of course, everyone has something unique. And this is the other part. We are being treated as pretty much as a herd. And people have stopped using their God-given freedom of choice. What I think one needs to return to a bit, take time to listen to your inner intuition. In my case, it saved my life. In my case, truly, by disobeying authority, I saved my life, and I was 6.5.
I sometimes, Vera, if I could just jump in there, I do wonder, I listen to you, and I know, we've spoken in the past, that you survived the camp. I wonder, have the lessons of the 20th century, or the lessons that we were supposed to learn from the 20th century, have they by now been completely forgotten?
Totally. Because history has been relegated to irrelevance, including the Holocaust. It's just being used politically. But no, the lessons have not been learned at all. And people still believe that some people are, to be dismissed. That's called the Untermenschen. That's the way the Nazis called it, right? But that's how the West regards lots of different indigenous people.
And so, Vera, what have you sought to address? What have you sought to address in your latest documentary? Such a huge topic. How have you been able to, crystallize it down into a narrative?
First of all, people, if you just give yourself a chance to relax, to really smell the roses and all that sort of thing, because we haven't been. You look at people, no one is talking to each other. They're all with their cell phone. You go into an elevator, you go into a train, and it's all over. And really, it was supposed to be that you connect with people, but in fact, it has disconnected you from the people around you. You don't notice them at all. In order to reach into, spirituality, you have to take time. You have to give it a chance. It's not, this is not something that hits you over the head. And, spiritualists feel also that everybody, they're born into a specific time and that there's a specific purpose. And I really began to feel that in these last few years, that finally I realized that, yes, there was a reason why I survived. And that is to speak out and to call tyranny, a spade a spade.
Vera, bear with me while I just bring in my guest in the studio with me, Alex Story. Alex, Vera talking about the way in which it really chimes with me that our obsession with screen time, everyone looking into their mobile phones everywhere you go, and that we were supposed by that technology to be more connected. And Vera saying, actually, it's done completely the reverse. We're disconnected from the people around us.
Yeah.
That is, there is something, there's a profound challenge there, isn't there?
Yeah, and so I'm blessed with 4 lovely children, and I realized one day, because I travel a lot more than I should, and I remember coming home every day and hearing the tipper-tap of my children running down the corridor and hugging their gigantic dad, and me really enjoying that little moment of real love, of unconditional love, which is so rare. And then one day, the same thing happened. I opened the door, there was complete silence. So I walked down the corridor, silence, and then I turned into the living room, and my 4 children were on devices, barely looking up, and as they did, they just went, and then they kept playing. So my Neanderthal reaction was to grab all the devices and put them in the bin. And I think, in a way, what we have to realize is that there's a real price to technology that stops of delegation, and I think that's what we have at the moment.
Vera, reassure me, if you will, reassure me if you can, that there are reasons for optimism, based on the experiences that you have talking to those with whom you have directly communicated.
Well, yes, I think that people really can rejuvenate. We have to take back our freedom and our brains to tell us what to do. We don't need experts to tell us how to live our lives. We don't need to obey authority when authority has been misleading us totally. And the spirituality actually is what gives us the power to get off the high-tech expressway, which is intentionally leading to a transhumanist hell. That's what leads to hell, and once you realize that, you just have to, disengage from some of these gadgets that have really taken over our lives.
Thank you so much. All the best of luck with the documentary. We will talk again. Thank you, Vera Sharav. Another break is upon us, after which Colonel Douglas Macgregor, retired US Colonel and former White House advisor, to contemplate, amongst other things, the North-South International Transport Corridor, which may become a way for countries in the East to trade without being dependent on the West. You're watching The Neil Oliver Show on GB News.